What's up, Nature Freaks?
What's going on, Nature Freaks?
Dave and Jeremy back at it again, another Saturday, slapping face.
That's right, this is episode 2 in our 5-part series of our epic Venomous Encounters.
That's right, we're sticking with North American species today. Let us know in the comments if you guys are enjoying the series, getting to hear the behind-the-scenes stories and seeing some footage of how we kind of came across the animals and what we do in the background.
Oh wait, let's do it.
Nature in your face!
Alright guys, so we're going to go back to Arizona. One of our awesome, epic Venomous Encounters was with a speckled rattlesnake. Now if you know anything about speckled rattlesnakes, they are extremely variable in colors. You can see...
Extremely variable?
Extremely variable, does that make
Like
sense?
it,
So anyway, you might find a white speckled rattlesnake, you might find
a blue tinted.
But the one we found, actually we didn't find it, but as the saying goes, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. We were hiking with a friend from Canada, Chris Norris.
Canada,
eh?
Oh, Canada.
Yeah, he came down from Canada to herp with us. We met him in Arizona, and it was at night, and we were up in the mountains, and we weren't having much luck. Obviously, we had our flashlights out. We were walking for probably hours, not finding anything, and then we hear Canada Chris scream, "Guys, over here!" We run down there, and this was the craziest colored rattlesnake we have ever seen. It was a bright pink speckled rattlesnake that are only found in certain areas of Arizona, but I couldn't believe how pink that thing was.
Yeah, and it wasn't our first speck. We had, found a plentiful number of specks before, but never one this pink, this beautiful. And what was cool is it was on a moonlit night, so the sky was clear. Here we are with this pink rattlesnake, and right in the background behind the snake is a huge full moon. Just kind of made it like more of an epic night and helped light that snake, and that pink was popping.
Yeah, not only does it have the pink body, it has these grayish blue eyes. So the eye color's unusual, and they're typically very defensive. So this thing, I think it buzzed the entire 45 minutes or an hour, however long it was that we were photographing the snake.
He jacked up your snake hook, didn't he, Chris?
Yeah, he sure did.
We got some venom. What happened there?
Well, we're just trying to keep him in one spot so we could get a couple good still shots. And I used this end, and he went off. He bit. He envenomated. We saw this thing wet. My thoughts are I was holding it in my hand, probably for a while. So that means it was still quite warm, right? Those pits, thermal sensitive pits, infrared. He saw a nice heat source of some predator messing with him, and he went off. He nailed it.
Of course now. Oh yeah, now you're doing the slow tongue.
What an awesome find. What do you have to say, Jeremy?
I got something in my face, that's what I gotta say, sorry.
Well, I hope you viewers appreciate what we go through.
Something got in my eye when I was taking photos.
All right, well, hey, that's a little behind the scenes look at nature in your face.
Yeah, so that was an epic encounter, and it's always cool when you're with someone, from a different area, you guys linked up, and then bam, you get on something incredible like that together. So it just kind of stays with you, the rest of your life.
Yeah, and for Chris, he's from Canada. There's not too many herps in Canada. There's a very small handful. So for him to come down to Arizona, it was cool to see how excited he was finding all these species for the first time, especially a pink speckled rattlesnake. And he found it, which was even cooler.
Heck yeah. So staying in Arizona for the next 2 and 3 up in the Sky Islands. So I'm trying to think of, we met another herper. I mean, these stories just continue. And he was like, hey, I got this cool spot. It's a long drive, high elevation. And we're like, yeah, that's what we're looking for. We're trying to find the ridgenose banded rock. These are like we don't want to leave this state without finding these on this trip. And
one of the reasons is they're very localized and they are protected. In fact, the ridgenose rattlesnake is the state snake of Arizona. They're highly protected and they're very difficult to find because there's just a very small area where you can find them. So when you go to these areas, there's a good chance, even after driving for hours, that you're going to strike out and not find it. So it would have been really terrible if we didn't find it.
So we were having trouble, timing it to meet up with this guy, and so we decided, you know what, we're just going to go at it on our own. And we did some research, we drove out high elevation, and we weren't having any luck, and we pulled off, and I was like, man, I gotta use the bathroom. And so I walk from the car into the woods. No, you stayed in the car. And I'm using the bathroom, and I just happened to be looking around, and I look to my left, and there's a giant boulder, probably like, I don't know, 20, 30 feet away from me, and I'm staring at this boulder, and I'm like, what? And I see this little banded rock, head up, just like they sit at the bottom of this giant boulder. And so I quick finished what I was doing.
And I gotta take over from here.
Okay. And I just took off running.
So I'm sitting in the car. I'm on my phone, waiting for him to get done whatever he's doing. And I hear screaming. So I look to my left, the window was rolled up, I'm in the driver's side.
Which is usually not a good sign if someone's using the bathroom in the woods and they start yelling.
But I could barely hear him, he's screaming, I had my phone going, I was listening to something, and so I turn and it was almost like when you watch the old Charlie Brown episodes, The Teacher. That's what it sounded like to me. So anyway, I rolled on the window, he's like, banded rock!
Like beating on the window, like, get out!
And my first thought is, why are you here and not by the banded rock, making sure it's not getting away? That was my first thought. So I was kind of like, dang, there's a good chance this thing's gonna be gone when we get back.
See it.
But these things just sit like most rattlesnakes. If you don't disturb them, they're just gonna sit there and they're not gonna move. But again,
which is the best way to find them. Undisturbed and situ, just chilling.
Yeah, and again, our reaction was priceless. High five and jumping up and down, screaming. Can't believe it, banded rock rattlesnake, lifer species. Awesome. He is sitting right at the base of this little crevice, but there's this giant boulder here. Jeremy saw this one. Get that light on him. What do you think, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, that's why they're called the rock rattlesnake, because it looks just like the rocks.
Wow. Unbelievable.
So we, if you guys like to know something silly, we give all the snakes we're looking for nicknames. And this one was the thing, and the Latin species of this is clobberi. It has subspecies, but it doesn't matter. And so we were saying it's clobbering time. And if you're a fan of the Fantastic Four, you can put it together. It's clobbering time, the Thing's catchphrase. Here's the Thing. That was super dorky, but that's okay.
Yep. And again, it just said there was a small one. It was probably only maybe about a foot. Little
yeah, and I remember it had a lot of pink hues to it, right?
It's like a peach.
Yeah, peach, pinky, whatever you want to give it.
Yeah, that's another. That's another
palette
species.
And figure that out later.
Different color, different pattern. We found them with mint.
Yeah, because eventually we met up with that guy, and then we did find some, even more beautiful ones. So. Yeah,
and just real quick, staying on the topic, we found a massive banded rock rattlesnake. It was flipped by one of the guys that we were herping with, but I always say that this might have been a record size species because they only grow to about 24 inches. This thing was way bigger than that. It had, I think it had 17 buttons on its tail. It was beautiful. It was a bluish gray color. I mean, it was an awesome snake. So those two in particular, banded rocks, were the most epic of all the banded rocks we've ever found.
For sure. And so sticking, I mentioned it already, ridgenose rattlesnake. Same area that we finally found the big.
Another awesome snake.
Which we only got one.
That's enough.
Which was enough. And
yeah, because they're not variable. So if you find one,
right,
other than size, they pretty much look exactly the same. There's no different color, different pattern. They got that war paint on their face.
For sure.
What a beautiful snake that is.
And we were hiking with I think a total of 5 people. So us, 2, and 3 other herpers. And we were all spread out, and we had found multiple banded rocks that day, but then eventually I think one of the guys got buzzed, right? Like he just happened to be near the area, and the little willow dye gave him a little buzz, and there it was. Everyone comes running to see what this guy has found, and now cameras are whipped out, but that was pretty cool. That's an incredible snake. Just that actual, like the war paint, looks like someone just took a paintbrush and made a stripe of white through their face. They're really pretty snakes.
They really are. An interesting story, the guy that found it had been bitten by one a year earlier, and it put him in the hospital for a week. So it's not the biggest rattlesnake, doesn't have the most powerful venom or venom yield, but even a small one's dangerous. So
yeah, which obviously that would be from handling that snake, which we did not do because they're protected and you're not supposed to touch them.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. All right, moving along. What would this be? 3?
4. We are on 4th
We're on 4 already?
Already, we're cooking with
Wow.
Crisco.
All right, so we're going to talk about the cottonmouth.
Cottonmouth.
Correct?
Yeah.
Cottonmouth. All right, cottonmouths, not rattlesnakes. They are in the pit viper family. They are one of the most aquatic venomous snakes that you can possibly encounter. And we got a lot of cool epic cottonmouths.
We've seen a lot of cottonmouths in our day.
We'll
All
make
right,
this
so
quick.
yeah, this is the craziest cottonmouth story, which we're here for epicness.
save
This
it
is
for
the most
last.
epic of the epicness. Okay, so yeah, we kayaked down a river and we got out at this little wooded area.
Where not a lot of people go, so
No, not a lot of people go there.
it's hard to
And,
get to.
Yeah, it's super
Yeah.
overgrown. There are no trails. It's just forest and it's surrounded by water. But we weren't having a great day that day either, which this happens a lot. Which that's just herping. And there was a rock pile, and it was kind of like a little flattened out area in the middle. And so we, kind of climbed up the rocks. And when we got over the rocks, there was the biggest cottonmouth
Yes.
we have ever seen in our life. And not only was it the biggest cottonmouth, it was the nastiest cottonmouth
It was.
that we've ever seen. And no, we do not support the cottonmouths chase you,
Theory.
but this one definitely could have started these rumors because it did.
It
what it's
came at
called.
us.
It showed den aggression, which has been documented. It came out like 3-4 feet, just 4. We had to back up, and then it stopped, gaped, waggling its little tail, and then turn around, back into the den. So it was not trying to go the direction we were. It came out of the den, backed us up, showed its mouth, and then it went away. So that was crazy.
What stands out the most about this particular cottonmouth, everybody has their fishing story or their herping story where they caught the biggest fish, they saw the biggest fish. I am not exaggerating when I say
30
to
feet
this
long.
day, it was 30. To this day, I still, and I just told him earlier that I want to go back to that island. This thing was so massive. I mean, cottonmouths, 3.5 feet is a big one. This thing was 5 feet plus, easily, and it was
a
that
beast.
thick. It was huge. It was one of those moments where you're like, it was that thick.
You are fake news.
It was huge. And I'm serious. I want to go back there just to see if we can find
Could have been
that
full of
particular
babies or something,
snake. It
too.
could have been,
Yeah.
but it was massive.
Mama was not happy.
Yep. In fact, I wasn't jumping for joy that trip. I was super disappointed because we did not get any video or any photos to document the size of it. And to
Yeah,
me,
that was like an
the most-
epic, crappy moment.
It was. It was epic to see one that big, but it was
Look at that.
super,
Gone.
super disheartening
Yeah.
to not get a photo of that thing. And we
Yeah.
literally stuck around for probably 45 minutes, kind of moving rocks and looking to see if we can maybe flush that thing out. It never happened. We're going to go back and we're gonna find that sucker.
Maybe like those guys that started that Bigfoot channel and they actually like
seeking Bigfoot.
yeah,
never
they
find
actually
it.
but then the one episode they do find it and there's no camera roll and they're like gone.
Yeah.
And they're like
Yeah, but our story is actually real.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up part 2 of our epic venomous encounter.
Now, this is epic.
Okay, we got more to come.
Yep, we got another North American episode, and then we're going to move on to our international, because we've been to Costa Rica, we've been to Southeast Asia. I mean, we've been all over the world. So our next several episodes after this.
Antarctica, those snakes are to come.
Oh, the snow snake! I forgot about that. All right, guys. We'll see you guys on part 3 of our epic animal encounters.
See ya.